Hello students, welcome to new session. I hope you all are fine and taking care of your health. And today we are going to start new chapter, chapter 13, time and motion. So in this chapter we'll study about measurement of time in ancient times, simple pendulum, some terms related to simple pendulum. We'll also solve numericals and we'll study about latest trend in measurement of time and units of time, motion and its types, speed and units of speed, and distance time graph for various forms of motion. Knowledge of time is very important for us. We all know that we all do our day-to-day activities and our day-to-day work at a certain time. For example, you have your breakfast at a particular time, and you also need to know the time to reach the school or when the school will get over. So we do all our activities according to time. And how do we get to know the time? We know the time with the help of clocks and watches. And do you know how did people in ancient time get to know the time? In ancient times, they did not have clocks or watches for knowing time, but these people, they knew the importance of time. So our ancestors used some natural events which repeat regularly after definite interval of time to measure time. For example, the time taken between one sunrise to the next sunrise was called a day or solar day. The time taken between one new moon to the next new moon was called a month, and the time taken by the earth to complete one revolution of the sun was called a year. Okay, so in ancient time, sundial, sand clock, and water clock, these were the measuring devices for measuring time. Now, measurement of time. Nowadays, we measure our time with the help of clocks and watches, and these are the most common time measuring devices. And all the clocks and watches, they use the principle of periodic motion. Now, what is periodic motion? A motion which repeats itself at a regular intervals of time is called a periodic motion. Now here we will discuss about simple pendulum. What is simple pendulum? A simple pendulum consists of a small metal ball which is called bob, and it is suspended by a long thread from a rigid support such that the bob is free to swing back and forth. And this motion of pendulum was first studied by Galileo. Now here we will discuss about some terms related to simple pendulum. First we will discuss about length of the pendulum. The length of the string or thread from the point of suspension to the center of the bob is called the length of the pendulum. As you can see this in picture in this diagram. So we can say length of the pendulum is the length of the string from the point of suspension to the center of the bob. Then next we will discuss here is mean position of the bob. The position of the bob when it is at rest is called mean position. You can see in this diagram, suppose the bob is at rest, means it is at B position. So the mean position of the bob will be the position B. Now next we will discuss extreme position of the bob. The positions where the bob is at the maximum distance from the mean position are called extreme positions. So you can see in this diagram, suppose a bob moves from B to A and then again to C. So the extreme position means the maximum distance from the mean position. That is called extreme position of the bob. So here A and C both are extreme positions of the bob because it is the maximum distance from B. Then next we'll discuss here is oscillation of the pendulum. What is oscillation? One complete to and fro motion of the bob about its mean position is called an oscillation of the pendulum. Okay, so if the bob is at mean position, means if the bob is at B, and if it takes one complete to and fro motion from mean position, is called oscillation of the pendulum. Okay. Now here we will discuss about amplitude and time period of the pendulum. What is amplitude of the pendulum? The maximum displacement of the bob from its mean position on either side is called the amplitude of the pendulum. So the maximum displacement means, suppose a bob is moving, the mean position of the bob is B, and if it is moving and the maximum displacement from its mean position is A, so the distance or displacement between A and B, that will be amplitude of the pendulum. Okay, and next is time period of the pendulum. Time period of the pendulum means the time taken by the bob of a pendulum to complete one oscillation. So when it completes one oscillation, so the time period in which it completes one oscillation will be the time period of the pendulum. Now next term here we will discuss is frequency of the pendulum. What is frequency of the pendulum? The number of oscillations made by a pendulum in 1 second is called its frequency. Okay, so we can say frequency can be calculated by this formula: frequency equals to 1 upon time period. So number of oscillations made by a pendulum in 1 second, it will be called frequency of the pendulum. Now here we will discuss numerical. Question is a simple pendulum takes 32 seconds to complete 20 oscillations. So what is the time period of this pendulum? We have to calculate time period of this pendulum, and values are given. It takes 32 seconds to complete 20 oscillations. So time period for 20 oscillations is given. Time for 20 oscillation is 32 seconds. So we can easily calculate time taken for one oscillation. We can divide 32 by 20 and we can calculate this. We can get time taken for one oscillation, which is 1.6 seconds. So we have already discussed that time taken for one oscillation is called time period of the pendulum. So if we have already calculated time taken for one oscillation, so it will be also time period of the pendulum. So time period of pendulum is 1.6 seconds. So this way we can calculate time period of pendulum if we are given time period of any number of oscillations. So easily we can calculate time taken for one oscillations, which will be time period of the pendulum. Next we will discuss latest trend in measurement of time. These days most of us use quartz clocks and watches, and quartz has a unique property of oscillating when subjected to a small amount of electric current. So that's why it is used in clocks and watches. So it can oscillate when it is subjected to small amount of electric current. So this, with the help of this, time can be easily measured. And for measuring small interval of time, a stopwatch is also used. You all must have observed stopwatch being used in different events and competitions. These stopwatch can be used to calculate accurate timings of the event or competitions. Now, unit of time. The standard unit of time is second and is written as S. And we know that 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds. and 60 minutes is equal to 1 hour. 24 hours make a day, 1 day, and 30 days equals to 1 month, and 12 months equals to 1 year. 10 years make 1 decade, and 100 years means it is equal to 1 century, and 1000 years or 10 centuries is equal to 1 millennium. Now next here we will discuss about motion. An object is said to be at rest when it does not change its position with time or with respect to its surrounding. And an object is said to be in motion when its position changes with time. So we can say if any object is changing its position with time or with its surrounding, so it is said to be in motion. And if it is not changing its position with time, so it is said to be at rest. In class 6, we have already studied different types of motion. You have studied rectilinear motion, circular motion, rotational motion, and periodic motion in class 6. Here are some examples, like if a car is moving on straight road or in a straight line, so it will be a rectilinear motion. A spinning top is having rotational motion. A pendulum of a clock or a pendulum is having periodic motion. So we have already studied these types of motion in class 6. Now next is slow and fast motion. How can we say that a motion is a slow motion or a fast motion? An object which takes a longer time to cover a certain distance is said to be slow. An object which takes a shorter time to cover the same distance is said to be fast. Okay, so that means if two objects they are covering the same distance in different time period, means if one object is taking longer time to cover that distance, that means it is a slow motion. And if any object is taking less time in covering the same distance, so we can say that object is having fast motion. Next topic we will discuss is speed. What is speed? Speed of a moving object is the distance traveled by it in a unit time. So if we want to calculate the speed of an object, then speed of the object can be calculated by knowing its distance traveled and time taken. So the formula for speed is distance traveled upon time taken. Suppose a car travels a distance of 240 km in 4 hours. Then its speed will be distance upon time. So distance is 240 km here and time taken is 4 hours. So if we divide distance by time, so we will get 60 km per hour. So this will be speed of the car. Now next we will discuss is units of speed. We know that the standard unit of distance is meter and that of time is second. So the standard unit of speed will be meter per second, because we know that the formula for speed is distance upon time, and if the standard unit of distance is meter and standard unit of time is second, so standard unit of speed will be meter per second. Next topic is speedometer and odometer. When you look at the dashboard of the car, you find many instruments on it. Okay, and these speedometer and odometer you can easily find on the dashboard of your car or vehicle. So what is speedometer? Speedometer is an instrument on a vehicle's dashboard which indicates the speed of the vehicle at that instant of time, and it gives speed in kilometers per hour. And what is odometer? Odometer is an instrument which shows the distance traveled by the vehicle in kilometers. So odometer will tell you the distance traveled by the vehicle, and speedometer will give speed of the vehicle in kilometers per hour. Now here we will discuss a numerical related to the topics which we have already studied. First numerical is the speed of a moving car is 72 km per hour and calculate its speed in meter per second. So we have to calculate the speed in meter per second. It's already given in kilometer per hour. So we have to convert kilometer into meter and hour into seconds. So we know that 1 kilometer equals to 1000 meter. So we can multiply 72 into 1000, and 1 hour equals to 3600 seconds. So we can multiply 1 hour by 3600. So by calculating we can get 20 meter per second. So it will be speed of a moving car in meter per second, because we know that speed formula for speed is distance upon time. So we have converted kilometer into meter and we have converted hour into seconds. So after calculation the speed will be meter per second. So next numerical here is Salma takes 15 minutes from her house to reach the school on a bicycle, and if the bicycle has a speed of 2 meter per second, calculate the distance between her house and the school. So here speed is given, which is 2 meter per second. Time is also given, which is 15 minutes. So first of all, we need to convert minutes into seconds. We know that 1 minute is equals to 60 seconds. So we can convert 15 minutes into seconds by multiplying it with 60. So we'll get 900 seconds. So speed equals to distance upon time. We know that speed equals to distance upon time, and we have to calculate distance. So what will be distance? Distance equals to speed into time taken. So speed here is 2 meter per second, and time here we have already calculated. We have converted 15 minutes into 900 seconds. So speed into time will be the distance. So after calculating we will get 1800 meter. Why it is in meter? Because speed was in meter per second. So this distance will be in meter, and we can convert it into kilometer by dividing it by 1000, because 1 kilometer equals to 1000 meter. So this way we can calculate speed or distance or time by using this formula. And if we need to convert units, so we can convert it by using units. Next numerical here is a car moves at a speed of 40 km per hour for 15 minutes and then at a speed of 60 km per hour for the next 15 minutes. Calculate the total distance covered by the car. So first of all, in first case we will calculate the distance, and then we will calculate the distance in second case, and then we will add total distance. In the first case, speed is given 40 km per hour. Time is given, which is 15 minutes. First of all, so we have to convert 15 minutes into hour. We can convert it by dividing into 60. So we know that 1 hour equals to 60 minutes. So we can divide 15 minutes by 60 to convert it into in hour. So it will be 1 by 4 hour. Speed equals to distance upon time. So distance will be speed into time. So we can calculate distance by multiplying speed with time. So it will be 10 kilometers, sorry. So now in next case, the speed is given 60 km per hour and time is given 15 minutes. So again we have to convert minutes into hour by dividing it with 60, so it will be 1 by 4 r. So distance equals to speed into time. So we will multiply speed with time and we will get distance, which is 15 kilometer. So we have calculated distance in first case as well as we have calculated distance traveled in second case. So now we have to find out total distance. So we will add distance traveled in first case, which was 10 kilometer, and distance traveled in second case, which is 15 kilometer. So total distance covered will be 25 kilometer. Now next topic we will discuss here is uniform and non-uniform motion. What is uniform motion? Suppose an object keeps on moving along a straight line path, and when it keeps on covering equal distance in equal interval of time, that means it has constant speed, it is not changing its speed. So this type of motion is called uniform motion. So we can say an object moving along a straight line path is said to have a uniform motion if the speed remains constant. Okay. And what is non-uniform motion? Non-uniform motion is a motion in which an object moving along a straight line path, it keeps on changing its speed. Means if it is covering unequal distances in equal interval of time. So that means its speed is not constant. So this kind of motion is non-uniform motion. Okay. Now next we will discuss about distance time graph. What is distance time graph? A distance time graph shows how the distance traveled by a moving object changes with time. For example, if we are having values of time and distance, for example, this is given in this table. If an object is covering 1 kilometer in 1 minute, 2 kilometer in 2 minutes, 3 kilometer in 3 minutes, and 4 kilometer in 4 minutes, and 5 kilometer in 5 minutes. Suppose the values or data of time and distance is given, so we can make a distance time graph which can show the motion of an object. So this is the distance time graph of the given data. To make distance time graph, what we have to do, we have to make two lines at right angle to each other on a graph paper and mark the horizontal line as OX, which is also known as x-axis, and vertical line OY, which is also known as y-axis. Okay, O is the point of intersection of these two lines, and the quantity which is made to vary at our will is called independent variable, and the other which varies as a result of this change is called dependent variable. So in this case, time is independent quantity, so we will take time on x-axis, and distance is dependent quantity, so we will take distance on y-axis. So distance is taken in kilometer and time is taken in minutes. So mark values for the time and the distance on the respective axis according to the scale which we have chosen, and then we have to join these points and we will get the graph of the given data. So this, if the time is 1 minute, in 1 minute the total distance covered is 1 kilometer, and if the time is 2 minutes, the distance covered is 2 kilometer. So here in this case, distance traveled, equal distance is traveled in equal interval of time. So we can say this is a straight line which is showing a uniform motion. Okay, because equal distance is traveled in equal interval of time. So this way we can make distance time graph of any kind of motion. So here you can see distance time graph for various forms of motion. As we have already seen distance time graph of a uniform motion, which is a straight line. So first figure is showing an object which is having uniform motion, the distance time graph of an object in uniform motion. And second figure shows the object which is at rest. So this is the distance time graph of an object which is at rest, because it is not covering any distance in any interval of time. And third and fourth figure, these graphs are showing the object which is in non-uniform motion. Object which is having non-uniform motion, this type of object will show a curved line in the graph. So we can easily find out, by seeing the graph, we can easily find out whether an object is having uniform motion, or whether it is having non-uniform motion, or if it is at rest. So this is how you can find out distance time graph for various forms of motion. I hope you all have understood all the topics of this chapter. Thank you.